Hi, welcome again to the video. In today's video, we'll be looking at loops, and we'll start with the very first kind of loop, which is while, and then we'll look at the other kind of loop, that is the for loop. All right, so for the while loop, it's very much almost the same as the way we use the if statement. And the reason why I say that is because it requires a condition to do its instructions. Like what you can see here, it says while there is something. Remember, in if you call the if statement, then the if keyword, then you pass a condition, then an instruction. Just exactly the same thing. You call the while keyword, you pass a condition. Remember, a condition is expected to return either true or false value. A column, then your instructions. Yeah, that's just all about while. But then please note that whenever you are using a while statement, whenever you want to use a while keyword, please note that there should be an iterable, something that you can use to count so that we will know when the program should stop. Otherwise, we'll get stuck inside a loop, just as the example that we have here. Uh, so let's try that very basic example. Here we are saying while true. So remember this true. Let's assume that there had been a condition that we have run, and the condition has returned a true value. So while true, we say we want to print. Let me use double because I want to use this here. I'm stuck inside a loop. Okay, so if I run this particular code, let me change my directory, then I run python main.py. All right, you see it's running. Okay, let me stop this by pressing Ctrl C. For us to see what is happening. So Ctrl C there that I use is called the keyboard interrupt, and it helps to stop a loop, this kind of infinite loop whereby it's when the program is not responding and you want to stop it, you could use Ctrl C. Okay, let us make it maybe a little bit interactive so that we can see what is going on. Remember our example in our if else statement. So we say that age is 17, and let's say when age is less than or equal to 23. No, this is definitely a true. This is going to be true because the system will test for this condition and it will return a true value. And once that is true, it runs all the instructions inside here. So I want to say I am inside a loop. Uh, New age is, then let us print our age, then let us increase age by 1. So we've seen where I've done something like this, age equals age plus 1, but then you can rewrite that by doing age plus or equal to 1. This is just the equivalent of this, just exactly the same thing. So we could remove this and we have this. So this is exactly, remember, like I said just now, that age plus equal to 1 is the same thing as saying age is equals to age plus 1. So yeah, so the same way we have something like this, we also have it like this. So let me do more examples of other ones. When we have, if we should have something like this, asterisk and equal to 1, is the same thing as saying that age is equal to age times 1 multiplied by 1. That's exactly what this expression here is for. Note that the equal to sign is not coming before. If you put your equal to sign before, this simply means plus 1. And what is plus 1 in mathematics? Plus 1 is also equal to 1. Exactly what this means. If this was, so it's not allowed to write like this, but plus, then you have equal to like this. All right. So if just the same thing as if I have age minus equal to 1 is the same thing, equivalent to writing it as age equal to age minus 1. And if you have age divided by 1, it is equivalent to saying that age equals to age divided by 1. All right, so I'm going to clear this off for now. Okay. Okay, so let us run our code now. Let's see what happens here. So what we're trying to do here is just to be able to see if this loop is actually there, or we just have something just stuck like this. You know, when we have something like this, everything looks the same and doesn't look as if something is really happening. But let us see when we run this particular code this time around and see. Oh, sorry, I had said I have. Okay, let me run while age is greater than. Instead, I want this statement to continue to be true at every time. Or let me start from 0. Okay, while true, age equals 0. So let me just uh, make it true at all time. Okay, so let's run this time. Yeah, you see, it started counting like that, and you now notice that it wasn't just talk, but it's actually creating new values every time. And to stop this, I just press my Control C on my keyboard, called the keyboard interrupt. So that's how to stop something like that. All right. So let us see a quick example on how to use the while loop. Here we want to see, here we want to do something like odd numbers to identify the amount of odd numbers that I'll be typing in. And yeah, so let's go right into it. So I have to initialize my odd number. Now my odd number is 0. The numbers of odd numbers I've typed in 0 so far because I've not typed anything yet. And I'm initializing my number of even numbers that I've typed in so far to be 0. Now I want to collect an input and save it inside number. Then I will convert that input. Remember, if you collect anything from using the input function, it is always in a string format. So I'm collecting the input now, and I'm asking it that whenever I type 0, it should stop the program. I will show you how to stop the program if I type 0. It's not that whenever I type 0 at every time, the system will automatically stop the program. No, it won't. But instead, there is a way that I can go about it so that the system knows that, oh, stop the program when I type 0. Now, let me show you how to do that. Uh, um, Number 0 terminates the execution. While let's go into the while loop now. While number is not equal to 0. So what this means is simply just what this means is that if the value that we have typed, that we've collected here from this input here, is not equal to 0, then do this set of instructions that I'll be typing now. Now we can now start typing our set of instructions. But what this will mean, if assuming our input here had been 0, this statement here, this condition here, would have returned a false. That means it would not do any instruction that will be put in here. But in as much as I'm not going to be typing 0, they need to keep doing that instruction. So that is how to terminate this execution. Whenever I type in 0, it terminates this execution. Yeah. All right. So let us, want to check the numbers of odd numbers that I will be typing. So let me see, check if the number is odd. And how do I check if the number is odd? You know, in mathematics, when we have 5 divided by 2, you know, anything that you divide by 2 and is giving us a fraction. So this one should give us 2.5. There is a fraction 2.5. So that is definitely a odd number. So we'll try to check that thing. So if we should do, remember, that means if we have a remainder, it is always a odd number. So how do we get to know a remainder of a number? Remember one of our one of our operators called the modulo with the percentage sign. So when you have 5 mod 2, if 5 mod 2 gives us any number that is not 0, that means a it is an odd number. But if we get something like 1, but if we should get 0, exactly 0 like this, that means it is an even number. So it's like, for instance, saying that 4 mod 2 is going to be equal to 0. And remember how to calculate this mode. It's like saying 4 divided by 2. Whatever thing you get, that will be 2 whole number 0 over 2. There is no remainder. So no remainder meaning that just 2. Then this is an even number. So let us have that out. And how do I do that? I'm going to check by using conditions. So the condition I'll be using here will be when number, number is whatever thing I collect from the keyboard here. So let's assume I'm typing in 5. So if 5 mod 2, we're assuming we are putting in 5 now. If 5 mod 2 is exactly equal to 1, any number divided by 2 would either give us 0 or 1, especially if you're typing an old number, you either get a 0 or 1. Whatever number you are dividing by 2, you always get a 0 or 1 as your remainder. So if the number I've typed in, which is 5 mod 2, gives us 1, then increase the number of my odd numbers that I've set to 0 here. Remember, our odd number is 0. But now I want to increase it to +1, meaning that I've identified one odd number. Remember, what this means is also saying odd number is equal to odd number plus 1. Remember that? All right. So now I've identified an odd number. Now let's assume our number is 4. So, if our number was 4 here, 4 mod 2 will give us 0, not 1. So then this condition here will be false. So we need to be able to do something else when this condition is false. Because if this condition is false, it will not run anything inside here. But if it is true, it will run this instruction here. But now, let's say our number is 4, and 4 mod 2 is not 1, it is 0, so it is false. Then it will not run this instruction. So we want it to come and do something else. And that is why we are creating the else. And now this else is saying that just increase the number of our even number, because obviously if a number is not an even number, then it's going to be an odd number, and interchangeably like that. Okay, so we've gotten how to count our odd or even number, but then we need to be able to know how to exit this while loop. Because what this will mean, if we should leave this code like this, is it will keep running and running and running. Then it will come back here to check what is number. Whatever thing you have typed in here, 5, is still 5 here. So 5 is not 0. It will keep running this code forever. But now we want to be able to, before coming back to check this loop, we want to be able to change the number to either another number or 0 to end our program. So that's why we are having this next line here. To read a new number, we have this next line to read a new number. And how do we do that? It's just exactly what we've done up there. Int input, then we say enter a number or type 0 to stop. Just exactly what we have up here. Okay. Yes, I think we are done with our program, but now, we are done with our while loop. So now we want to be able to print whatever thing we have gotten so far. So this is where we print our results. So what do? We do print. We do print. Then we call odd number. The number of odd numbers that we have counted so far. Then we return the value that has been saved inside odd number. Then we print. Then we still do a step through to read. To see how the system is going to interpret or run this code line by line. All right. Even number, not numbers. All right. So let us try to run this code. Let's see what happens when we run this particular code. Okay. So where's my code? I run it. All right. So it's expecting me to, let me stop this code. Now let me clear my screen and run again. All right. So it's asking me to enter a number or zero to stop. So at this point, this is where we are. The system has registered odd number to be zero, even number to be zero. Then we are here. Now, at this point, we are expected to impute something, and that's what the system is waiting for. So let us start off with our first example by imputing 5 and pressing enter. So what happens here is that it has immediately we put in 5 here, input 5 here, it converts it to a number, integer type, and saves it inside this variable called number. Then it comes to this while statement here, and 5 is what we have entered. So it says 5 not equals to 0. True, 5 is not 0. So it will do all this statement that has been indented here. So it comes here, 5 mod 2 is equals to 1. Yes. So odd number now has been increased by 1. Odd number is no more 0. It is now odd number plus, which is now 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1 is now 1. So odd number is now 1 here. It exits this if statement here because it has executed this part. Then it moves on to this part and ask again, enter a number. So that is why we're having a enter a number. So let us enter another odd number, which is 3. Just exactly the same thing happens. Let us enter another odd number, 7. Now, if you notice, we've had 3 odd numbers, 1, 2, 3. Now, let us just do one odd even number, 4 this time. Enter. Then now, let's press 0 to terminate. Enter, type 0 to stop. So let us type 0 and stop. So you see our result is 3 odd numbers and 1 even numbers, which is true. 1, 2, 3. Those are odd numbers, and this is 1 even numbers. So please, you may try more examples or try it by yourself and see how it is. Study the code there and you enjoy it. All right, we have some labs here. It's quite a lot. Yeah, it definitely will solve the labs for you, but enjoy for now. Guess the number. If you have any issues understanding the question, please reach out to me on the comment section below, or you can reach me some way somehow. Yeah, my Twitter too is in the description below, so you can always reach me from there. Guess the number, okay? That's skeleton code. Beat the pyramid. Okay, hypothesis by Collat, and yeah. All right, so from here, the next video we'll be moving on to for loop. And thank you for your time again, and I'm out.